So there's a growing trend in the firearms industry that, to be quite honest, is annoying the crap out of me. And it's not the Glock clones, the Micro 9s, or even the super cheap guns that are coming out lately. No, this is something so much more annoying. And it's something that seems to be happening more and more and more. Gun companies just aren't listening. Let's get to work. Hey guys, Work here. Welcome back to Work the Trigger. So today's going to be a little bit of a rant video. And why is it a rant video? Well, because one of my favorite firearms companies has made a decision in a product line that I think is just a little bit insane. So in today's world of self-defense firearms, we're seeing a heavy trend towards smaller, high-capacity guns. And in that segment, we've guns like the P365, which kind of started the whole thing. We've got the Springfield Armory Hellcat. We've even got options from Taurus in the GX4. Kimber just came out with a new option, and companies are coming out with new guns all the time. So then enter CZ. Now, CZ is one of my favorite gun companies. I really like a lot of the firearms that they make, but they also make a lot of missteps, and the P10M, in my opinion, is one of these missteps. And it seems to be a symptom of a larger problem within the gun industry, and that is the gun industry basically doing whatever the hell they want.
I am out of control. I can do what I want, bitch.
And then telling you that that's what you want, rather than listening to the consumers and making what the consumers are asking for. And it seems to be happening more and more and more. Companies coming up with stuff that the market just isn't asking them to produce. So the way that I see this landscape, we've got two major problems. And the problems are, one, companies that are just not reading the market right, and two, companies that are taking just sharp 90-degree turns from what they're expected to produce and just gaining flops off of that alone. The first one, those off-market options, the CZ-P10M falls under that, as does the Beretta APX single stack and the FN503. Those are all micro-compact single-stack 9mm in a market that is currently being flooded with high-capacity options. Guns in the exact same size range, exact same price range, with 4 to 5 rounds more in the magazine. And given the option, reliability, and accuracy, and options remaining the same, I'm going to pick the gun that's got more rounds in it. And I'm not really sure how companies are reading this market landscape and getting it that wrong. So on the other side of the coin, you've got those 90-degree turns. They seem off-brand. Some of the options on that side are the Mossberg MC1, the Remington RP9, the Ruger American, and Smith & Wesson's latest release, the M&P 12. Now, sometimes these 90-degree shifts work, such as the Ruger Precision Rifles or the Marlin Dark series, and I have a feeling the Smith & Wesson might fall into that category. We've seen how well the Cal-Tech shotgun has done, that the Smith & Wesson is kind of mimicking a little bit, kind of similar to how they did the Smith & Wesson Governor to the Taurus Judge, and that's a healthily enough performing firearm. And sometimes it just doesn't, like with the Ruger American or the Remington R51. But the thing is that in the cases of the misreading of the market, I don't see very many of those as being solid performers. The Glock 43 is one that kind of maintains a little bit. It did come out before the majority of the double stack Micro 9s came out. Then the Glock brought out the 43X and the 48 that both can hold 10 rounds in the magazine, and then Shield came out with the 15 round mags. Kind of gave you a happy medium there. The grip length is a little bit better than the other ones, but it does fill that segment role. But I don't think we're going to see that option with the CZ, which means that the P10M line is just not going to succeed. If CZ had come out and said that they were reworking that P10 line into a double stack Micro 9, I would have been 100% on board. I'd probably already have one on order. But being a 6 to 7 round gun, I just can't bring myself to go there, especially when it's asking almost P10C prices. And I'm worried what this says about the marketplace and about how gun companies are listening to us, because traditionally, well, they don't. And I really feel like we as gun owners need to start holding the gun companies accountable a little bit. And I don't want to say that they're completely ignoring us, but there is some disregard in there as to what the market is wanting versus the direction that a lot of firearms companies go in. Now, how do we show them that we don't appreciate that? I have no idea.
I don't know.
I wouldn't promote completely boycotting a brand specifically for this, because obviously CZ still has some really good options. The P10F competition ready, I really want one. But I'll tell you, I'm not gonna buy the P10M just because it's a CZ. And I'm not gonna buy other guns just because they're made by a manufacturer. I'm only gonna buy guns that fit the niche that I need a gun to fill. Now, take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, mind you, because I do this. So there's a lot of guns that I buy that, like, I wouldn't necessarily buy anyway, but I'll tell you, I don't really have any urge to buy something like a P10. I didn't have any urge to buy the MC1 from Mossberg, and I have absolutely nothing even resembling an urge to buy the MMP12. Granted, I'm not much of a shotgun guy anyway, but I digress. The point is, I don't get how these firearms companies can look at the marketplace and be that lost in it. Sitting on the outside where I'm at, hearing what people are asking, the questions they're asking about what guns they should get, what directions they should go, very rarely do they say, well, I would like this gun because it has less rounds in it. And with all of those options coming out, you know that there are better options as far as capacity goes, and it's going to take a hell of a gun to be a single stack and uproot any of the sales that those other guns are seeing. When somebody asks me what I would suggest a P365 over a Hellcat, you're good going either way. But if you're going to ask me what goes better, 365 or a P10M, or a Hellcat or a P10M, I'm going to push it towards one of the other ones. As much as I like CZ, and as much as I appreciate the P10 line, I can't endorse dropping those extra rounds, even if the trigger in the P10M is amazing. Which is really the only user factor in a pistol that size, because let's admit it, the recoil on all of them is a little bit snappy, the grips on all of them are a little bit small, so when you're living in this world of everything being that close, dropping rounds out of a magazine is going to be kind of detrimental. So again, what are some solutions? As consumers, don't buy stuff just because it's made by a brand. Buy stuff that actually fits. Buy stuff that is the best value. Buy stuff that is the best gun. And don't dig into the brand names quite as much. Don't buy the P10M just because it's a CZ. Don't buy the 365 just because it's a SIG. Don't avoid the Hellcat specifically because it's made by Springfield. Okay, no, that one you can do. But as consumers, we gotta figure out a way to be able to let the gun companies know that they do need to listen to us. I do think it's really amusing watching the teasers for these different guns come out around showtime. The Smith & Wesson M&P12 and CZ both put out little teasers of their options, and the CZ side, they figured out it was the P10M pretty quick. But a lot of us had hoped that they had upped it to a 10 or 12 round magazine. What I found more entertaining was on the M&P side, where almost everybody was convinced this thing was a PCC and was super pumped, no pun intended, about it, and super confused when they found out it was a shotgun. But the funny thing is that these responses to these show you where the markets are pushing a company or a brand. With CZ, the consumers were hoping that it was a higher capacity gun because that's where the market is demanding. That's where the vacuum is. That's where the sales are. We have to remember that humans tend to see what we want to see, and so when you're doing marketing stuff like this, a lot of those comments will actually help you understand your target audience. The M&P side, also hilarious, with how many people thought that gun was a PCC, and how excited they were about it. Because the PCC market is not a stacked market. There aren't a whole lot of non-AR based PCCs. Really, the best one that I can think of off the top of my head is the CZ Scorpion. The Strybog is supposed to be back here. It's in a bag right now. But even though that's an option, it's not really like a high volume option. There's a lot of space in that non-AR based PCC market, and that's where the market was hoping Smith & Wesson would fill, and they didn't. So as gun companies, as these companies who are supposed to be producing these things that consumers will buy, I'm hoping that these guys are paying attention and listening to these results that they're seeing and understanding where the marketplace is expecting them to go and not choosing to go other directions just to be different. Because you know what happens when you do that? You get Star Wars: The Last Jedi. When the creative team decides to look at the consumer expectations and go in the complete opposite directions, you get a train wreck. So guys, thanks for listening to my little rant. I'm hoping that in the future these companies will start listening a little bit more and maybe take into consideration what the consumer wants rather than just what the engineers are doing. So if you too feel as frustrated as I do, go ahead and hit that like button. If there's other guns on the marketplace that you have noticed that are doing this exact same thing of producing this thing and then telling you that it's what you want versus actually creating something that you want, do me a favor and list those down in the description. I'd love to see what your thoughts are on which companies have been doing this exact same thing. If you like this video and you want to see more, I don't do a whole lot of these rants, but you can hit that subscribe button over there and you can see them the next time they come up. If you like this video and you want to help out a little bit, you can head over to workthetrigger.com. Over there you're going to find coupon codes, affiliate codes, you're going to find apparel, and you're going to find a link to our new Etsy page. That's WTT3D. Over there you can get some custom design firearms accessories, and I'm putting up new designs every week or two. Thanks again guys, I appreciate every one of you, and until next time, do your research, get informed, and get to work.